Cadillac has had quite a run over the last decade. Just to put things in perspective, at least for me, when I started my career, Cadillac had the Catera to show off their engineering prowesses. It was good to drive, but you know, I'm sure that over at GM and Cadillac meetings, they never speak of the Catera. Then a few years after that, then came the SRX, which had its moments too. And just to give you a little bit more context, that essentially morphed into the XT5, which maybe just about a decade and change ago is the vehicle that maintained or kept the lights on over at Cadillac for a number of years. And because of it, the last decade has been very good over at Cadillac. I would go so far as to say not one of their products, with perhaps, well, not one of their products was bad. I've enjoyed the XT4, I more or less enjoyed the XT5, but it was more of a general thing. The Escalade is what the Escalade is. The CT4 was a highly underrated vehicle, as was the CT5. Now you may have noticed that I skipped one number, and that's the only number over at Cadillac that's had a hard time over the last decade or so. The XT6 and the CT6. I'm going to start with the CT6 because that in my mind is a tragedy over at Cadillac, because it was an exceptional vehicle. And should you ever come across the CT6V with that 4.2 liter V8, I think that's what it was, you have to buy it, store it away, because that is definitely an appreciating classic. It was a great car, just came out at the wrong time. The XT6, however, came out at the right time, but GM engineers, Cadillac engineers kind of cut too many corners. An Enclave was just as good, if not better, and a little bit less expensive, as were the Traverse and the Acadia. And that was kind of a flop, but generally speaking, it wasn't a bad vehicle. In fact, it was really attractive. But it wasn't a bad vehicle. And now we come to today. The Lyriq, the Escalade IQ are very impressive products. And the latest addition to that collection of electric SUVs is this one, the Vistic. And it replaces the XT6, or in other words, it's the follow-up to the lesser appreciated 6 Series, not to be mixed up with BMW, of Cadillac products. Now, I came into this review, it's my first time in contact with the all-new 2026 Cadillac Vistiq, and my expectations were somewhere mid-range. The specs are incredible. The value, also almost incredible. Styling, very, very easy to appreciate. But there are a number of things about it that make me think that it may suffer the 6 curse, or that mid-sized Cadillac thing that's been going on for the last 10. The CT6 came out, I think, for the 2016 model year. I remember going to the product launch of that. Anyhow, so in the following video, what I want to do is, well, point out why it's great and why maybe certain things, which most can easily be adjusted, I think, at least maybe not now, but in the facelift, why it may have a little bit of that lingering 6 Series curse. Right off the bat. These things, hello. See? I have the key fob right here. There you go, see? These things are terrible. These door handles are anything but ergonomic. They feel wrong. They're almost too plasticky. I question how long they will last. Thankfully, it has soft closed doors. So while the standard 33-inch display is actually really cool, things get a little wacky when you get down here to this screen. So as you can see, the HVAC controls are now off. If you want to turn them on, you have to select off. You can also increase the fan speed, but if you want to turn it off quickly, you have to press on. You can always decrease the fan speed. It seems a little weird. Let's try this. So this is your fan position. This is for your massaging seats. So let's just take this for example. So if you want to turn the seat massage on, intensity won't do anything. You have to select what it is you want it to do. And if you want to turn it off, Well, there's no off button. You have to reselect roll. It's a little bit strange. It's kind of a quirk that maybe Cadillac is trying to demonstrate that it can do things differently, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of that idea. So this one might be a pure parenting thing, but okay. Open the power hatch, all is good. So behind the third row, you have 430 liters of boot space, which is not bad for the size. You got a good bin under here, really like that. With the third row down, you have 1,218 liters of boot space. But if you're like me, and you toggle between, say, 4 passengers and 6 passengers and all of that, then you're gonna be often playing, depending on what you're gonna do on the weekends or during the week, play with the third row. Now, the problem here is that let's start with this side. So the third row is down. That seat is all the way back. So if you want to rise it up, it jams because there isn't enough room between the two positions. Maybe that's not that much of a problem, but that seat is moved forward somewhat. So I want to lower this side because I'm down to 2 kids and I have places and things to do. So then I lower it. But because the headrest won't snap down immediately, it gets stuck. So I have to go around, move the seat forward in order for the headrest to actually plunk down automatically so that it can go right into the floor. Now, relatedly with the third row too, and I apologize if this is not, well, is that it's not exactly designed for adults. I haven't actually moved these seats whatsoever. So this one is 1 click forward. It's not a very accessible, I mean, it is accessible, but it's not exactly comfortable for anyone. Like I always say, I'm just shy of 5 feet 10 inches tall. Not really good. So maybe for teenagers, but I'm not so certain they'd want to stay here very long. Another thing too, it's maybe a detail, but in fact 2 details. The decals or the stickers or the antenna or whatever it is in the side windows really cuts on outward visibility for third row passengers. And the other thing, yay, it has a massive panoramic sunroof, but at least it has a shade. Back here, it's a fixed piece of glass which does not have a shade. So I don't know what Cadillac engineers have against third row passengers, but if it's really sunny outside and it's hot, follically challenged people like I are gonna have cooked cocos. So here's one quick demonstration of what happens when you grab the handle too quickly or not firmly enough. Your fingers will slide right off. I really don't like those handles. One final little detail before I tell you the price of this vehicle. Now, if you know EVs and you're shopping EVs or you own one, you usually expect to see a frunk beneath the bonnet, right? But I don't think you're ready for this. I was shocked. It's as though they forgot something. It's very unusual in most EVs today in 2025 to end up seeing an engine bay like this. Here's just before we get on the road, here's a shot of that decal or graphic. I mean, I don't think it's the antenna because, lo and behold, it's cool, but I don't know, little not so good. Why would you lock? I'm right here. There we go, thank you. Now you did get a little bit of a shot of the third row and the second row, but just so you know, the seats are actually quite comfortable. And when not being used by the kids, of course, there's plenty of room. This is your screen for your HVAC controls for the back seat occupants. Generally speaking, and some of the surfaces are a little bit like too big, but the plastic is top notch. Love the details, numerous different types of surfaces. It really does look good. Love these door handles. These are brilliant. The exterior ones, no, terrible. Front seats, not terrible. Very comfortable, supportive, and as you saw massaging, you've got this nice carbon fiber decal, good storage down here. Now we saw the 33-inch screen, which is quite nice, as you just saw. As soon as I get in and press the brake pedal, the Cadillac says hello. Drive modes right here: touring, sport, snow ice. My mode, snow ice. My mode is set up as is. This is the worst part. I'll tell you more in just a few seconds, but this is quite nice. So it's adjustable, but not completely adjustable like the air suspension that's available on higher trims. but a really, really nice place to be otherwise. Now, outside of some comments that I have to make on the driving experience, that pretty much summarizes the things that I'm not too crazy about the 2026 Vistic. Now, the base luxury and sport two trims both start at $92,999 before fees. You get 21-inch wheels. I mentioned the soft closed doors, the big screen, massaging seats, the panel roof. I mentioned all that. They're all dual motor setups. I'll tell you more about that in a few moments. There's also the premium deluxe at almost $111,000 before fees, and then there's a top trim platinum at nearly $118,000. And lo and behold, this is just the Sport. Yeah, that's right, in opulent blue, which is a lovely color. I thought it was purple when it was darker before. Visually, I really like the taillight treatments. They're all LEDs and they all have these lighting animated signatures. My only, and it really doesn't count, the 21-inch wheels, which are standard, look a little bit small. Yes, my friends, it's come to that. Otherwise, it's a fairly attractive, robust, I'd say, very, very nice SUV. Column shifters for the win, always. So what you get in all Vistic trims is a 102 kilowatt hour battery, which when fully charged, as you may have noticed mine is, because I charged it overnight and I barely drove from the house to get here. The NRCan rated range is 491 kilometers, and I think I was at 487 or 488 at 100. So when I left the house, I was probably at 495. For all intents and purposes, I firmly believe that that range is realistic, given the driving that I've been doing. But what I want to talk about really is the power, because this thing has 615 horsepower and 649 pound-feet of torque, which enables this thing to hit 100 kilometers an hour in just around 4 seconds. And there's this V button, which is essentially a push to pass. I really did not exaggerate there. Okay, that is a dangerous button in my hands. The power is fantastic. The range, I believe. The ride quality is fabulous. I mean, I showed you in my drive mode, so I'm in touring, and the dampers are just very much at ease doing what they're doing. Now, the point I was trying to make by showing you the steering is that it reminds me of the first Cadillacs that I drove when I was much younger. My uncle had a Fleetwood DeVille, and in touring, I swear to you, I've experienced a lot of cars with this electric steering with very little feedback, but this is so artificial. I swear sometimes I think I could turn the steering wheel to the right and the Cadillac would go left, because it feels so incredibly disconnected. And when you put it in sport from touring, it's all the more worse and fake and artificial. Having said all that, though I don't like it, I can completely understand how your typical driver and owner of a Cadillac Vistiq would consider that a very luxurious feature. Brakes are fantastic. I'll show you the drive modes again. There's a paddle by the steering wheel, which is how you immediately, and this is a common GM thing, and it's a brilliant thing, where you can just use the regen braking as you would a brake pedal on the actual brakes to modulate the amount of braking you want the system to do. And this is also how you will come to a full stop and hold it. Generally speaking, this is a lovely drive, but if you want something a little bit more engaging, then you have to look towards the Q6 and the iX, not the EQs. Those are not so great. But yeah. Now, the all-new 2026 Cadillac Vistiq finds itself in a growing segment of varying purposes, if you will. I mean, among mid-size 2 and 3 row premium-ish, well-equipped electric SUVs, You can't overlook the Volvo EX90, but you can't either ignore, say, the Kia EV9 or the Hyundai Ioniq 9. And then there's the Rivian R1S, and then there's the Lucid Gravity, which are all in the a little bit less expensive to considerably more expensive depending on the trim, but they all do essentially the same job. You can also squeeze in the Mercedes-Benz EQE and EQS, BMW iX, Audi Q6 and SQ6. So there are a lot of options in that segment. My fear, if I focus solely on Canada, is that, well, I'm not afraid for it because I think it's going to do very, very well. The value proposition, the ride comfort, the amount of space, generally speaking, that is if you don't really need regular access to a third row, should make this a very well-received premium electric SUV for just around the six-figure mark where this comfortably sits. And given everything you get in a luxury or sport, the other trims for $15,000, $20,000 more, I don't think are very much worth it.